Welcome to Paranormal Heart Podcast with host Kat Ward. Hello everyone, welcome back to Paranormal Heart Podcast. I'm your host Kat Ward. Tonight's segment is pre-recorded, streaming on United Public Radio Network 107.7 New Orleans, as well as 105.3 the Gulf Coast. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us. The Paranormal Heart Podcast is for entertainment purposes only. All information shared in this podcast is not professional advice, and the views and opinions expressed on Paranormal Heart Podcast are not necessarily those of the show host, network, or producers. Paranormal Heart Podcast is always respectful and courteous to all involved. So, folks, I'm pretty excited and honored to have my next special guest, Mr. Ron Morehead. Mr. Ron or Mr. Morehead has been known for decades for his worldwide research into the Bigfoot Sasquatch phenomena. He's an author, researcher, lecturer, experiencer, and producer of the renowned Sierra Sounds. And on this segment, Ron will be discussing his personal interaction with these giant beings and how he takes a different approach in researching these giant mysterious creatures using quantum physics. So please help me welcome Mr. Ron Morehead. Hello, Ron.
Hi, thank you, Kat, for the nice introduction. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. As I mentioned earlier, it's a great honor for me, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So before we get into the quantum side of the Bigfoot, I can't really call it phenomena. Can you tell us, before you got into the Sierra Sounds, did you have any interactions with Bigfoot? Like, how did it start for you?
No, I didn't. It all started for me with 1971 with the Sierra encounters that we have in me and some other hunters in California, way back in the wilderness. And yeah, it was a hunting camp, had been a hunting camp since 1958 when the Johnson brothers started going in there. And all of a sudden, 71, the Johnson brothers went up there just to check out the camp. And it's a pretty remote area. It's 8 miles in the wilderness and about 8,400 feet in elevation. So it's pretty imposing. In the wintertime, it's very imposing. In fact, you can't get in there in the wintertime. It's just snow loads. You know what it's like. Right? Yeah. Anyway, they had this event happen to them, and they didn't know what it was at first, and realized it wasn't a bear when they went out and looked at the track. So they came out and told the other guys, which I wasn't part of. I was just friends with them, but I wasn't a hunter at the time. And so they all went back up, and they encountered these things again. They came around the camp in the evening time, and I see these things because there was more than one. And so anyway, one of the guys got scared off the next morning. He said, "I can't handle this." And they all had their guns, high-powered guns, because they didn't know what they was up against or what might be, what they might be in store for. They just knew some kind of monster up there. Mm-hmm. So he shot out the next day and came back and told the wives what the Johnson brothers said was true. There's some kind of monster up there. And he was shaking. I guess he was really shaking. He was already religiously, and he was very religious, and he just didn't know where to put that in his paradigm, where to put that in his thought patterns, because giants aren't supposed to be around anymore like they were in the old days. Yeah. And so Hawaii said, "Well, you got to go back up and see what's going on with these guys. They didn't come back when they were supposed to." He said, "Well, I'm not going back by myself." So he asked me to go with him. That's what got me involved in it. And I went back up, and he about killed me getting in. It was a pretty imposing trek for me. But I did it, and I got me involved in the camp. I became a hunter that winter. I bought a gun and done all the things. All the things.
Push pause. I do apologize, folks. We did lose internet connection for a brief moment, so please, sir, continue.
Oh, well, anyway, that's got me involved in it, and I started going up there as often as I could. We started taking tape recorders, little cassette tape recorders. That's all we had. That was portable enough to take up there. So that winter I bought a horse and gun and everything, and just got myself prepared to start the adventure the next year as soon as the snow let us, and started going up there. And that winter we invited a journalist up there from the cryptozoologist named Ivan Sanderson. he got a 23-page letter from Warren Johnson, who suggested that, well, he thought it was a hoax. He thought no one can have this kind of encounter with an ape, and he sent it off to Peter Byrne on the West Coast, or in Oregon, who thought the same thing. I didn't know this. I read the correspondence later on when Al Berry showed it to me. He got a hold of Al, and Al Berry, the investigative reporter, we invited in 1972, and he went in looking for a hoax. He thought it was too, but couldn't find one. He started recording them also. But I found out this later on when he told me we used to go through our packs and everything else every time he got a chance, looking for who could be pulling this off way back in the middle of nowhere, So anyway, he's the one who fostered the studies at the University of Wyoming on the sounds. He recorded them also, and got a professor of electrical engineering at the University of Wyoming, Dr. Curlin, to take them on unbiasedly and just tell him if it was fake or not, if it was real. And Dr. Curlin studied him for a year, gave his report to the University of British Columbia in 1978, I think it was. And also wrote an article and a book about him, and Man Like Monsters on Trial. And he said that they were outside the average human range. The Deppelsel range was way above, way below, and inside what we can do as humans with our vocal mechanism. And he also said that one segment he checked out represented an animal over 8 foot tall. So that puts it in a category, but it still is not humans. Whatever it is, it makes it. So it wasn't until 2008 till cryptolinguist by accident ran across the sounds, and he drove all the way out from Missouri to interview us and asked if he could study the sounds because he thought he heard a language in there, and that's why he was studied in the military and Navy. His career in the military was a cryptolinguist.
Okay.
And he was a 2-time graduate of this Foreign Language Institute for the military, and his whole job in the military was to decipher codes, not decipher, but find out if codes were anything to them, or if it was a language or not. If it was a language, he couldn't interpret the language, but he could certainly say if it was a language, if there's any funny stuff going on with it or something. Anyway, he said these things have a language by the human definition of language, which didn't know what that meant. In other words, we knew they were talking to each other up there, these things, whatever they were. And but still, having language was a big deal, a bigger deal than any of us really realized. We thought we were dealing with some kind of ape in the woods, and like most researchers do, that's what they think they are. Because, but anyway, Al Berry had a master's degree in science, and he said that whatever you do, stay with science. Don't talk about strange stuff, because we had some strange stuff going on up there. Some what people would call paranormal.
Yeah.
Well, paranormal is it happens. Just about everybody has strange things happen to them occasionally, but this falls out of Newtonian physics. So I stayed into science. I went into quantum science to see if it had anything to do with this, and sure enough, it answers a lot of the woo-woo questions that people have. The paranormal stuff. It's a science recognized around the world, but we live in a third density environment. Three dimensions, and four count time. But anyway, there's so much more going on that we don't see. We only see within 430 and 770 terahertz. That's our frequency, and everything, according to physics, is energy, frequency, and vibration. Energy vibrating at a frequency. And according to Einstein, according to quantum physics, if you can find the frequency of anything, you can change its matter. Well, that's kind of interesting.
That is very interesting.
And then Dr. Paul Dirac got the Nobel Prize for antimatter, and that is the direct exchange between matter and energy. It can happen. And it does happen. According to CERN in 2012, they proved it with the Hadron Collider when a particle was witnessed as an energy source at the end of its little speedy trip. So anyway, the fact of it is things can change according to frequency. So that's how we change our vibration to get higher. Everything is energy, frequency, vibration. So can these things disappear? I've had people say they saw them disappear. Well, for a long time, you put those people in the funny farm. It's just not real. You can't see it happen. Newtonian physics, which we're all taught in the 5th grade, is all based on material and physical and measurable, predictable. Well, Quantum physics is not like that. It's just not. It's unpredictable. And that's been coming out more and more and more as every day goes by. There's more and more studies going on that, how quantum physics really rule. And according to Professor Stephen Breyer at West Texas A&M, everything from the atom all the way through to the cosmos works on the rules of quantum physics. So there, and people that say they saw their trackways disappear, and they know one was there, and all of a sudden trackways disappear. Well, that's because they can change. I think at least some of them, because they're not all the same. Some of them can change their matter into energy only, and then their density changes, and the trackways will stop. And I had that happen to me. My daughter had a sighting. We found the trackway and started following it, and it just stopped. And I couldn't see where it went. I mean, it couldn't have gone up a tree, couldn't have jumped it. I mean, where to go? So that kind of got me on the track, and that was several years ago. And anyway, it's been quite a journey for me, and it's got me into what really is taking place on this planet, and what it got me looking into. I was raised religiously too, and all of us up there were kind of in that track. And anyway, I started looking originally into the Bible and into ancient texts, Greek mythology and stuff like that. But I didn't get all their questions answered. Really, I had to go all the way back into Mesopotamia and find out the first written language and where these words came from that I'm reading. And it came from the cuneiform text, which pretty much all written languages have a core there, including the Hebrew. So that gets you into Sumerian, gets you into the Anunnaki, gets you into how things happened 3,400 years BC, and how it parallels, and it does parallel with our biblical accounts, but a lot of stuff has been changed over the years, and depending on what king was in charge and what information they wanted out to control the narrative for the people that they were governing. And so it's really, 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 really interesting to me, and I've been on it ever since. So
very fascinating to myself as well as so many other people too. Would you say that maybe the woo-woo is a type of science that we haven't discovered yet?
Well, it's quantum science, yeah.
Quantum science.
Yeah.
So you're
quantum physics.
Yeah. Okay, I wasn't sure because you had mentioned that earlier, and I wasn't sure. It's like, did he mean that it was quantum physics? Okay, that's so fascinating.
Mm-hmm. But quantum physics is the science behind the woo.
Yes.
In other words, it explains how things happen, how things really happen outside of our three-dimensional environment. Because there's, according to physicists, there's 11 dimensions, and we live in 3. So all these other vibrations exist. And if we can learn how to connect ourselves with everything, we have the ability to do this. Bigfoot does too. Well, I say Bigfoot. All of them are not the same. And I've concluded that. The ones we dealt with have a human component, and that's because Dr. Philip Lieberman, Brown University, says only humans have the vocal mechanism, the hyoid bone connected to the tongue, nervous system into the brain, to be able to speak like we're speaking now. And if only humans have that, and these things have that, well, that means at least these ones that we dealt with up there that we recorded have a human component. Then you got the geneticists who have said that there's a human in the mitochondrial DNA. Well, academia's been given a thumbs down because they say, well, it's got to be contaminated if it's not in the gene bank. Well, academia is one step behind the note here. They just don't. They haven't looked into things. I mean, the famous Dr. Grover Krantz, who lived in Washington, he's passed away now, but he didn't agree with our sounds at all. He says they can't be. It has to be an ape in the woods. It can't be. They can't talk. You can't know. So he poo-pooed the sounds, just like a lot of professionals do, academia do now, because they're all trained within parameters of their discipline.
Yep.
And their discipline says you can't get outside this box. If you do, you're going to be scoffed at by your colleagues. You're not going to get your grants. You're not going to get your tenure if you're not careful. All this stuff. So they stay within that, even though someone might want to believe this, and they should, because Dr. Curlin, who put his whole life on the line for this subject, he got ridiculed. He changed universities, and for coming out with a story that he did. But he's high profile professor. He's got military clearance for work on for the military. He's written over 100 papers. He's just a really high profile. I don't know why other professors can't just read that and read what I've done, not what I've got, but the stuff that I've got, to establish these sounds and what these things could be, and open their minds up a little bit, because unfortunately they've all been put in this parameter box, this conditioned box up on our shoulders. And that's what we've all been happening. It's happened to all of us. Since the time of birth, we've been stuck with what we've been taught, and that's all we think that's all we know, and that's all we know. And yet, I get into the pineal gland, which is the third eye, and that's the one inside your head, which got that displayed in the pictographs and all over the world. The third eye, and that's the eye that does not require light. We have two eyeballs out here that require light to see through that frequency I mentioned. Mm-hmm. But this one in here don't require that. That's connected into the heart, the nervous system, and the heart has a brain. That's been pretty much established now. It's got more energy going out of it than our brain does. And that heart is your gut feeling. And when that heart needs to be in coherence with what's on your shoulders here, and it's been taught, it's just been taught all this stuff, but this here just receives from the source, wherever that is. And once you get those all in coherence and get those all rhythmically together, you'll start listening and pay attention to your heart's, what your gut feeling is telling you to do. And that's when you can see without these eyes, and you'll know things that you just know things. We all have telepathic abilities. All our stuff has been dumbed down from, well, I hate to say it, but from the Anunnaki. Not all were bad, but these ones that fell, and that falls right into the Nephilim, the giants that were created. It all falls into the fallen ones. The fallen ones in the Bible are aliens who came down, and they're called the shiny ones, the powerful ones, and they could do things and they lived for a long, long, long time. They decided to take a third density because they like this planet. Everything likes this planet. That's why we're visited by UFOs all the time. They all want this planet. This is a great planet. It's got everything, and everything the other planets don't have right now. And they want how they want it. And they're afraid. I think a lot of people are afraid we're destroying it, and we are destroying it with a war, because we're kind of a warring species. And unfortunately, that's what we are, and we have to get out of that and raise the vibrational level, start thinking better, and stop trying to hurt people. Because everything in life here, I rattle on, so just stop me if I don't.
It's okay.
But everything in life here is just an experience. That's what we're here for, is experience. But more important than the experience itself is how you respond to the experience. If you respond to the experience with love and compassion, you're going to be on the right trail, and you're going to raise the frequency of everything. Yourself especially, because that's the only way you're going to get out of this third density, is if you get your vibrational level up higher. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're made to do. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to get out of it, but we got to get it on our own. That's our karma. Nothing's supposed to interfere with what we're doing, how we're responding. Not anybody, not your cousin, not your mother, not anybody. Supposed to tell you what to do, other than tell you not to eat your socks or something. But anyway, it's all fun and it's all exciting. And when you realize the time we're living in right now and all the things that are going on, you really should appreciate everything that comes to you, because you get the chance to respond to it positively and with love and compassion. Don't be a victim of anything. Whatever happens to you is for a reason. You learn. Just got to learn from it. I tell my grandkids that when they're playing football or something. I say, they said, well, we lost the game today. I said, no, you didn't lose the thing. I said, you either win or you learn something. There's no such thing as losing. That's my motto. And when you're green, you grow, and when you're ripe, you rot. That's the way I look at it, too.
I was just saying the other day how interesting us humans are. We're so versatile. We can, some of us can be so kind and peaceful, and then you have the other spectrum where we're I don't want to say the word evil, but we're warfaring creatures as well. And it's just amazing how we can be both at the same time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But we're made to, thanks to the Anunnaki, we are the bad ones, the fallen ones. We are a warring species, and the different gods in the old Greek mythology, which, by the way, well, that's another story altogether. But it's what they've done that parallels so much with our written scriptures of the Bible, except a lot of things have been changed around, like I say, to meet the needs of the narration, or to meet the needs of the person in charge,
Mm-hmm.
control. I'm not religious anymore. I'm spiritual. Like it or not, we're all spiritual. We have two
Yep.
parts to our body. We have the biological part, and we have the essence of it, who we really are, the ethereal part. So we need to realize that we're not a body walking around with a spirit in us. We're a spirit walking around with a body. So
I
it's kind
like that. Yeah.
of important that we understand that we're going to, because your spirit can't die. You know, your ethereal
Yep.
part of you, your consciousness won't die. Our body's going to die. There's no doubt about that. Everything does. But if you haven't learned everything that you're supposed to learn, that means responding properly in this lifetime. That's where Bigfoot brought me all this, what I'm talking about right now. If you haven't learned it, you're going to have to learn it somewhere or sometime
Mm-hmm.
in order to raise your frequency, because you've got to get out of this third density if you want to experience the eternity the way we're meant to. If you're going to experience eternity one way or the other, just you want to go through this bullshit, or you want to graduate. You know, we're here to graduate.
Yeah.
Well, I just
So
encourage anybody to get into understanding how things really work on this planet.
yeah, it can be an incredible place to live for sure.
Oh,
So, do you have an opinion on why some people have peaceful interaction with Bigfoot and others have such a negative, aggressive interaction with them? Do you have any opinions on that?
I do. Yeah, you want to hear one?
Please, yes.
Well, they're not all created the same, and a lot of them are, because different aliens have been here. They're still here. They're here doing manipulation to genetics of different species on this planet. Not all of them were created for the same agenda.
Mm,
And I've heard a lot of people report about these things getting, but of course, a lot of people want to shoot at something they don't understand. They want to
yeah.
kill it. And unfortunately, that's what I think took place up in Portlock, Alaska, when I was up there a couple of years with the filming crew. The whole village got abandoned, and that was in the late 40s when they were over timbering it, they were over mining it, they were over fishing it. They were just, that's my opinion. They weren't a Bigfoot expert, which I don't call myself an expert, but I do know a little bit more than most people because I've been at it longer than most people. Now, I say that since I'm in my 80s now, you know,
Oh,
it just all started for me when I was 29. But yeah, there's been a lot of reports of these things being malicious, and
mhm.
yet what we were dealt with up there didn't appear to be malicious at all. In fact, they were gifting us. They were they're trying to interact with us. They were interacting with us. And very rarely did we get a glimpse of them, but we did occasionally. I got one, but then I wonder now, since I know more about how things work, if they weren't really just, well, I'm going to say the word cloaking, or
Yeah.
out of our visual perception.
Yes.
That's a better way to put that, out of our visual perception. So maybe that's what they were doing, because there's times when I lay there in my sleep bag in our little shelter, which is like a beaver's nest with these trees growing around in a circle, and laid some deadfall up against them, and you hear them tromping out there, big bipedal elephant walking by, you know, and you think, okay, I'm going to see its shadow move between these breaks of the trees here, or the limbs, and never saw the shadow, never saw it.
Hmm.
And I did see it one night in '74 when I recorded the samurai cry, they call it.
Yep.
I was interacting with them when we were outside, which was very unusual. Usually we got inside the shelter before they would do anything. And I don't think they like to be seen. They don't like people shining flashlights out there. I think it temporarily blinds them. I'm a pilot also, so
Yes.
we have red lights within our. You don't get night blinded. Use red flashlights. So anyway, they started messing with us while we were outside in 1974. Me and my friend Bill McDowell, and we were excited because we just came into the Horses and Mules, and they actually had gotten there before we did. They knew who we were and where we were going, and we established that the next day when we started looking around. It was just an exciting night, and that's when I recorded my second CD with my interaction. They started clapping rocks rhythmically. They'll start beating on trees rhythmically. And they'll start whooping, but they whoop back and forth in different intonations. I think that's their way of signaling each other what they're going to do next. And then it isn't until you just ignore them, which is what we did. We learned that by '74. We learned just ignore these sounds and they're coming closer. And they did. They came in closer. First they started yapping, and then they started asking me something. I have no idea what it was, but I started mimicking them, thinking there's still an ape out there somewhere. Didn't realize the significance of what they were doing. The cryptolinguist who studied these, he said that the same mechanism made the same sounds from 74 to 72. We recorded the difference in them. And he said he thinks he slowed them down. They actually slowed them down to ask us something because we could understand the rapid chatter. And you can't. They're so rapid, so fast. So that's what I think now. They're asking me something, and I was mimicking them, and it just wasn't working out because I didn't know what they were saying. I think it's because I'm so thick-headed. I'm kind of I'm very analytical, and I had no idea they were what they are, what I think they are. And so anyway, they're probably trying to talk to me something they thought I could understand. A lot of people tell me, well, I know what they were saying to you. Well, they'll tell me something different unless they know the context of it all. And they're going to, how do you know? How do you know they're telling everybody? A lot of them tell you something different. So how do you know what they're doing?
Yeah.
So I just got to leave it the way it is. And unfortunately, until some expert chimes in, no one's going to believe it. So that's why I got the science behind it. Al Berry told me, make sure you get the science and use science when you're talking to people. So that's what I'm doing today, trying to use quantum science and let people do their own homework, study it, look into it, because if you do, you'll find the whole lot more going on than what we see. If we knew what was really around us right now that's outside of our perception that we can't see, we'd be probably concerned.
Probably.
But you got a lot of things that are out of this density, but they're not advanced far enough yet. They're still hanging out in the ether, and that's where ghosts, I think, come from. But most of this happens during the nighttime when the Earth resonance is tamed down. Our bodies are tamed down. We're in our different state of sleep, the alpha state, maybe the theta state, and we're all in tune more to Earth and more to what they are in tune to quite a bit. So that's why they get a lot of people get interaction during the night, and these things get around. Well, another reason could be they're just big and they don't want to be seen, so they just hang out at night. But if you do see them in the daytime, it's usually an accident, and because they don't want to be seen, they're not supposed to interfere, so they stay back. But a lot of them over the eons of time have been diluted down from crossbreeding with indigenous people. And there's a lot of stories from the Native Americans that talk about how they took their women and
yes.
So a lot of them look more human-like than others, and I got my opinion about all this. So I do reserve the right to be wrong.
I really hope someday some linguist actually cracks the language and we could actually communicate with them.
Yeah. Well, regular linguists probably won't be able to do that. I shouldn't say that because who knows? I know it's been suggested AI would do it, but AI is only going to know, artificial intelligence, only going to know what's been fed into it. It knows everything that's been fed into it, but this language hasn't been fed into it, as far as I know. Who knows? I mean, maybe that will come about sometime.
That would be fascinating.
Yeah, I would love to know what they were asking me that night. It might be make sure you're on Kat's program today.
Maybe they're asking you. I don't know. I can't even think of anything right now, but yeah, that would be very, very fascinating. So if somebody were to be able to crack the language where we could speak, would you go back and maybe try and speak their language again?
Well, I can't speak their, we can't reach the frequency they do. We can't speak their language.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I've had people say they can, but like Joe Rogan said he could, but he can't. It's outside of our range. We can't even get there.
Yeah.
And we don't know how high they can go or how low they can go. We weren't recording with anything but cassette recorders, and they just record certain things, So anyway, it's I want to go back. I've been back. Last time I was back was in 2018. I've been going back quite. I haven't been back since then though, because the whole area was on fire when we was up there coming towards us. I was up there with David Pilates, 911. He did a segment on me up there, about 15 minutes in his missing 411, The Hunted, and he interviewed me there. And they recreated a light that went by our tent 2 years earlier when I was up there. It was kind of interesting. You don't know what that's about, but it was an elongated uh, light just kind of floating by our you don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
What do you do? I'm up there with a little 38 with a snake load in it. I say snake, a bird shot.
Yeah.
And that's because I got a 52-inch rattlesnake up there one time.
Oh, wow.
So you want to have, and I got that for, you can shoot the bears off with it too, shoot them in the butt or something. They won't take your food. But you just want to have some kind of something up there with you because you don't know still what's going to happen. You don't know. You just have to. A lot of mystery up there, though. A lot of things happened that we couldn't explain with what we knew at the time.
It's fascinating to me because years and years ago, 20, 30 years ago, Bigfoot was just people thought was a physical creature. And now, because more and more people talk about their experiences, they're starting to talk about when they experience Bigfoot, there's also orbs that they're experiencing. Some people are saying that there's UFOs that they see at the same time. And it's just fascinating how the conversation has changed from just one type of creature, and now there's all these other things following it. It's just, to me, it's so fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I think things are happening in this time, in this age that we're living in that's just different. We're all being enlightened a little bit, and times are changing. Things are happening. More and more people are seeing these things and seeing the dog man, different species that are strange. But again, nothing's supposed to interfere with us from this paranormal world that's out there. We have to make these decisions and live our life with the challenges in front of us and respond to them properly. It's amazing what's going on, but you're right. I didn't talk about any of this stuff for a long time that went on up there. I do in my books now, though, because more and more people reported to me, reported all over. I speak at these conferences now, and people are lined up out there want to ask questions to me. And I try to answer them the best I can with what I think I know, and that's the laws of quantum physics is going to get to answer those paranormal and woo-woo things that happen to you. You wonder how you sense things through telepathy or something like that, because we all have those deja vus,
Yes.
And we have not been shortchanged. What shortchanged us is when our telomeres, which are DNA, got severed, and it restricted our lifespan to 120 years, whatever, and also restricted a lot of our abilities to get into that other part of that we're made with. I don't think Bigfoot had that happen to them. They're still in that realm of because something created them too, just like created us. We're all hybrids, something made us, and it's just interesting. But you got to delve into it. You got to do your own homework. These people that just, I've been doing this for 50 years. I'm still doing it. It's just really, really interesting. And the things that are happening nowadays, wow, you really know who you are, who we're made to be as humans. I got a whole chapter in my new book, Bigfoot Unveiled, about Tesla's manifestation code. He says you understand 3, 6, and 9, and you will understand the universe, how it works. Well, I got my theory on it. It's not near as complicated as everybody thinks it is.
Seems complicated to me.
Well, we're in a third-dimensional environment. You got to elevate yourself to the 6 before you're going to understand things. And but we're made to be ninth-dimensional creatures, entities, and ninth dimension is what the Anunnaki were. And you get to that. That's what we're designed to be, and it's just important that we know. Well, that's my opinion anyway. I just think it isn't as complicated as a lot of people are making it. Just have to understand that we are in a third density. Got to get to the 6th density, but you can do a lot of this in this embodiment that we have now if you just learn how to get your chakras lined up, and that's what's important. Get the pineal gland connect to the heart, get the heart in coherence with the brain, get this thing reconditioned up here so it's outside the box now. And I treat this, and everybody should, like a parachute. If it ain't open, it's not going to be much good. Got open. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, other than the Patterson-Gimlin film and your Sierra sounds, In your opinion, are there any other media as influential and informative?
Good question. I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard of any that has got
I
these
haven't
data.
either. Yeah.
The Gimlin film's been studied second only to the Kennedy assassination, so it's been studied a lot and been determined to be real by professionals. And my sounds, I got this professionalism behind it, so that's why it's credible. And it's just those are the two things that I know of that really people pay attention to. And the human component is what I think is important, is people understand how long these things have probably been here, because what went on with the Anunnaki and the cuneiform text and all this, that story went on for hundreds of thousands of years. It's not like 6 or 7 days this earth was made, like a lot of us go to school and Sunday school. Sunday school learn. It's just, but it all, you can see how it's been filtered and how it comes through. And they're just not getting to where they can, there's thousands of these cuneiform tablets that have been found and being deciphered all the time. And I say deciphered, translated. And that's kind of important, I think, for people to understand the core of all this written stuff that's came out, because that's the first one that has ever been discovered. It just started being interpreted in the 1800s. So that's a really good thing to look into. And look at quantum physics 101, just how things really work. Because we don't know how things really work if you just stay within your Newtonian physics, which was 1687 when Isaac Newton put all that together. And no doubt he was a genius, but he stayed just like Einstein too. He stayed with it. Everything's measurable, predictable, but everything is not measurable or predictable. It's just not. You get into quantum physics, you realize that it's unpredictable. And does God play dice? I think Einstein said, God don't play dice. Well, dice is there. And what is God? That's another thing too. You get into cuneiform text, you realize that the word God's not mentioned as Elohim. That's the word they use for God, but it's all plural. It's always plural. And all these gods were around, and that was the fallen ones, the remnants of the fallen ones, and what they could do. And then you got the demigods, which are hybrids, made from them into human genome. So it's just, wow, it's just really, really, really interesting stuff.
It sure is.
You have to have a passion for it, I guess, before you go. Most people just want to go through life and live the best they can and die and go to heaven. Everything's going to be all right. But not necessarily so. If you're a victim or anything like that, or if you're not responding properly, you got to learn sometime. And
true.
We're here to learn. That's what we're here for.
We are creatures that need to learn. Did you ever imagine in the 70s that this topic would still be fascinating to so many people today?
I had no idea. No idea I'd be on programs like this. I've been on 4 this week. And
oh, wow.
You're the 5th. And just one this morning, too, from UK. They're all, it's just, people just, I speak in Paducah, Kentucky next week.
Oh, nice.
And then I go to come back, and I go to the West Coast. I'll be out there through the summer. I'm speaking at conventions out there, meetings and stuff. So then Philadelphia and Louisiana. Then I just people are excited about this. What's really happening. They want to hear more about what to expect and what they're here for. Like we realize who we are as human beings, and how special we are as human beings. Very, very, very special. And we don't realize that. Most people don't. How special we are to be given the privilege of being here and experiencing this dynamic that we're experiencing. So Bigfoot, I think I ran across that whole thing just so I could do this stuff today. And that's what makes me thrilled to be with you, because I can talk, and I just hope it reaches somebody, and somebody out there will, catch on to it and do the homework and help somebody. All I want to do is help somebody. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody. I don't need to do that.
so many people are a lot more open-minded now, and we're getting more and more curious about our planet that we're on and what other people are experiencing. And it's nice that shows like mine and so many others and amazing guests such as yourself being able to speak about these topics that other people have encountered, and they're thinking they're
Mhm.
crazy, but they realize no, other people are also having the same encounters.
Yeah. Yeah, your mind will confabulate. If you see a Bigfoot doing something, you'll think, well, there's a bear. Because your brain is only going to tell you what it knows. And you
Yeah.
have to, until you step out of it, you're not going to realize that's something different. And but most people will confabulate different things with it. Their brain does that. This condition thing on the shoulders I talk so much about, because it's really your enemy. It's like fear. Fear is your enemy.
Yes,
Talk about that.
very much so.
And the fear is just the lack of knowledge. Generally, once you know something, you're not going to be afraid of it. So I would caution those people that are out there researching this is don't be afraid.
Hmm.
Because anything out there that you can imagine, your brain will feed on that, the energy, that vibration that you got going on. So you're just going to get more afraid. So learn to know who you are as a human, then you won't be afraid of anything too much anymore. Not
Yeah.
that you should keep a flag up on certain things, but that's just so you can watch it. But that doesn't mean you should be fearful. And
Hmm.
I know I've been down in land between the lakes there with
Yeah.
Daryl Denton and Martin Groves, and you get down there, and Daryl, well, coming out of the podcast here shortly, will be it's going to be two TWO real cryptid legends. There it is.
Mhm.
That's the name of the program we're going to be on.
Okay.
So I think he just got over and called me yesterday and said we got a bunch of subscribers already. He says so we're ready to go. So we're going to practice tomorrow. We'll have that going for too long, I guess. And that should be fun, you know. And so I've been asked to be on those a lot before, but I appreciate Daryl a lot. And
Mm.
Martin Groves, he's a retired deputy, from down there in that area. And he had a face-to-face encounter with a dog man down there.
Oh,
Took me to some
yeah.
places where supposedly there's been some people killed by these things.
Hmm.
And it happens. So I just tell people, not everything out there you want to have cupcakes for. They're just not good,
Yeah.
you know. But don't fear it, because they can't hurt you. They might kill your body, but they can't hurt you, who you really are.
Hmm.
So it doesn't bother me. Well, I say it doesn't bother me. Have Hunter come around here in a minute. Jerk me a little bit.
That's a place I'd like to go someplace, land between the lakes. I
Yeah,
know quite a few people who have been there, and they've looking for Bigfoot and Dogman and so many other
uh,
strange encounters there. Such a
yeah,
fascinating location.
yeah. It's a big area,
Yep.
big area. And yeah, I've been there a couple times, and they wanted me to go back again, but I'm running out of time. And Martin hadn't had a chance; he's been busy, and
Mm.
Daryl, we're busy trying to do this. But anyway, we're just getting busier with people wanting to see us or something, and it's good to get out in the field though, and tromp around, which I don't do a whole lot anymore at my age. I had a brain surgery about 8 years
Oh,
ago, and it messed up my balance a little bit. So
okay. Yep.
I don't walk those logs across the river like I used to.
I don't blame you.
It turned me around 180 degrees, but I like doing what I'm doing now. That's why I had that habit to it, probably just so I could
Yeah.
slow down and do this. 'Cause I've been around the world checking things out, and I've
Yeah,
done it all.
you've been a lot of places.
I have, yeah. Been very fortunate in life, and very fortunate, good life.
So
And I've written 3 books,
how many? 3?
3, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I produced 2 CDs
Hmm.
with integrated sounds on them, about 40 minutes long, both of them,
Hmm.
telling a story. One of them is Al Berry's story. I produced that years ago, and it's the first thing I came out with, and it's his story. Jonathan Frakes, Star Trek: Next Generation,
Yep.
narrates it for us, and then the second one I produced on my story, and I narrate it. And it's more about the interaction that we did. Al Berry's more about aggressiveness they had. He got
Mm.
really good. And he became very good friends before he passed away. He passed away about 10 years ago, or over 10 years now. He was a good friend, and we did a lot of things together. But at first, we weren't. He was looking for a hoax. He
Oh,
thought
yeah.
somebody's pulling my leg up here. But I think he knows now wherever he is.
Yep.
But yeah, then anyway, enough about me. What about you now, Kat?
What's that?
I said, enough about me. What about you now?
Oh.
I do
Oh.
a show. I say, hey, that's enough about me. What do you think about me?
I love you. That's why I wanted you to be on the show. You're so
Oh,
fascinating.
thank you. Yeah.
So I know you were a pilot and a scuba diver. Do you still do those as well?
No, I
No?
sold my airplanes. I had a couple
Okay.
airplanes, and I just don't. I mean, I might. I'm not done with it necessarily, but because I
Mhm.
can still ride a horse and drive a car and all that stuff, but I just have to be careful with my coordination because my left balance nerve is severed,
Oh, okay.
and that kind of messed. So I had to learn how to walk again, pretty much. But I still haven't learned. I mean, your neurons will have a fascinating way of reconnecting, but
Hmm.
they actually cut them off over here.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't even talk about it. I mean, because I'm happy about it because it's taught me to slow down and talk to people like you and
Ah,
get this show on the road here for people that need to understand more. Uh,
I
but,
just have one other question for you.
oh, really? Just one?
Yeah,
Okay.
just one. Yeah, because we're almost, well, we have about 15 minutes left. But
Oh,
uh,
fun.
so is there a possible connection between Bigfoot and the skeleton found in Peru and Bolivia, the Lovelock Cave?
Mhm.
Because I was reading briefly a little bit about that.
Yeah, I went down there twice to
Yeah.
Bolivia. I've been in Lovelock Caves 4 times. Uh, yeah, I went down there with L.A. Missoula and a filmer and a scientist, and we
Mhm.
went to a museum that had some elongated skulls in Paracas, Peru, and we weighed them and checked them out there. They got the elongation on them, but what was unique about it is there's no sagittal suture across the top. We have two parietals, one's a bone on each side of our head. They
Mhm.
just got one single one this long. About 30% more brain matter they had than we have, according to the weight we found. And they
Mm.
were not cradle boarded. What we seen down there was naturally elongated. And we actually got permission to unmummify one, and we checked it out. That was the second trip down there. I had a copy made of that, which was pretty unique. A friend of mine did it, and I've already packed it away, or I'd show it to you. It's quite unique. I went down there specifically to see if they had anything to do with the elongation with the sagittal crest that people report on some of these Bigfoots. Some of them, all the same. A lot of them crossbred have been diluted down, more human-like, da 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 da. But I found there's a bread trail, crumb trail, story trail from the Incas going up to the uh, uh, Mayans and the Aztec. Yeah,
Ah, okay, yes.
in Central America, and then they have stories of warring with giants in the north. That takes us up into Lovelock Cave area, and then it's where the Paiutes talk about the red-haired giants, cannibalistic giants, and they tried to get permission to see the skulls and things that were taken out of there over 100 years ago, but the Smithsonian's got them or threw them away or something. I don't know, but they have to control the narrative. Again, our government has to control the narrative. That's why they don't tell you about Bigfoot. They didn't tell us about UFOs until just recently when they want to inundate us a little bit at a time. They're not going to give you what they can explain and what they can try to understand. And they can't understand it. They can't explain Bigfoot. It's going to throw a curve into religion. It's going to throw a curve into
Yep.
history books all the way around when that's out. And everything has to be rewritten. We're fixing to reboot this whole planet, I think. And I hope it needs rebooting.
I
Yeah.
agree.
But I think the planet is a living thing too, and it's trying to trying to get things better. They don't want to get destroyed. None of the aliens that come in here want us to destroy it like we're trying to do with these bombs and stuff and killing each other and all that. We got to stop that stuff. Yeah, it's
We do. Yeah.
just wrong way to live. And if we don't stop it, well, we got to stop it. And the more and more programs I'm on like this, the more the word gets out of how we're supposed to be as humans. And the more we get that vibration going with more and more people, the more and more better, that's more better, is that a word? We can make things. And got to make things better and convince people that, respond with love and compassion. And that's the only way you're going to get out of this third density. And the earth wants to get out of it too. But they say there'll be a new heaven and a new earth. Well, those that don't get out of it might get stuck in the third density forever.
Maybe, yeah.
I want to raise up. I want to have my place in the cosmos. And
I think a lot of us do.
Yeah.
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 And if we could just figure out how to.
Star Trek captain.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be amazing?
My nose is itching. Somebody else should come to see me. My nose is itching. Okay.
My mom used to always say, that means you're gonna kiss a fool.
Your nose itches?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I never heard that one. Oh.
No? Maybe it's a Canadian thing.
Oh. Hey.
Hey, yeah. I have a lot of friends in the States, all paranormal related, and they always say they make fun of me how I sometimes say "a," and when I do say it, they're like, "Oh, she said it! She said it!"
Or about.
A boot.
There you are. Yeah. Oh, I've been in Canada quite a bit. I used to fly up there into Alaska to Canada.
Nice.
Done some research into Canada too, and it was it's a beautiful area, beautiful country.
I've been fortunate enough to be able to, because my husband's actually retiring from the military here, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to drive across Canada with various postings. So it is a beautiful country.
Yeah. I've flown all the way into the Rockies. I've been there all the way up into Terminus. That's something like that. Termination. That's where the Rockies stop.
Okay. Yeah, the Rockies are beautiful. Yeah.
And anyway, it's all fun, and life is fun. You make it fun because you can make it whatever you want it.
True.
Just gotta look at things differently. Like Abraham Lincoln said, you find what you look for. So people should look for trouble. Stop watching soap operas all the time because that's all.
Yeah. Never got into those.
I didn't either. I can't handle it. And that's a good thing. Yeah. And eat properly. We got to clean up our pineal gland because it gets calcified with our foods.
Yes.
And it's just covered with a cellulite type fiber. And really, we got to clean things up in our diet to clean that up. And fluoride is the biggest thing. I think I've written that in my first or second book. Because clean that up, it receives better, receives from the source better. And that's what you need to do is when you pray for things, you're asking for something. But when you meditate, you're ready to receive something. That's when you download. That happens a lot at night. Downloads into your heart, and then it gets the incoherence of the brain. So you catch it. A lot of people just don't get that part, though. But I think it's important. And the ancients talk about it a lot, how the third eye.
Yes.
How it doesn't see with the third eye. It doesn't require light. Yeah. But my website is ronmorehead.com.
I was just going to ask you. Yeah, you read my mind.
Well, no, it's called telepathy, and it's called quantum entanglement too.
And what's the website again? Sorry.
ronmorehead.com.
And Morehead is with one O.
Yeah.
I do apologize I knew when we first started emailing each other, and I knew it was spelled with one O, and I didn't catch the typo, so I apologize for that.
Happens all the time. All the time. I went to a family reunion one time. So showing where our name came from. Mm-hmm. All the Moreheads, and a lot of them had two O's, and one of them had one O, and one of them dropped an E and stuff like that.
Oh.
When you had another wife, when your wife died, you had to have another wife, you added an O to it. You lost a
Oh,
child or something, you drop an E maybe. And it all came from the same root.
huh.
And it came really back from Scotland in 1504 when the family came over. And we all came from the Muir, the head of the Muir, M-U-I-R, Muir, head of the Muir Valley.
Mm.
And the Muir Valley got translated to Morehead, the head of the Moor, head of the valley.
Ah,
And
yeah.
that's so it's kind of fun to look at stuff, you know.
Yes, it
Really
is.
visual. And so anyway, it's kind of interesting. I don't know why I brought that up, but it had nothing to do with Bigfoot.
That's okay. So, Ron, thank you so very much. Other than your website, is there any place else that people can find you, where they can find your books?
Well, the website's the best place, ronmorehead.com. They're downloadable. All three of them are,
Okay.
plus my CDs are too, they're downloadable. The paperbacks you can get from books, you can get those are hard copy too. You can order them through my website, and it comes out shipped directly to you, no matter where you are, from Amazon, KDP. And then I've got my Facebook account, which is Ronald J. Morehead, and that's me. But I can't accept all the friends that are still in line. It's only allowed 5,000, I think, or so. But
Yeah.
people could follow me if they want to, and I come out with something every once in a while that's kind of fun.
People love you and want to be your friend.
Well, that's nice. I'm honored to be with you too, and honored to have this conversation. Yeah,
Well,
more and more people
honored.
are having it. I'm not the only one doing this now. Sometimes I listen to these people on TV program. Hey, they read my book. That's a little pretentious of me, but it was. Yeah, we got to watch our ego nowadays. But I'm controlling that. I think I'm trying to.
Yeah.
But it's a rabbit hole, and most people are just a little bit concerned about rabbit hole because you can't see what's on what's at the bottom of it. Mm-hmm.
Very true. Well, thank you again, Ron. I really appreciate it. It was a great honor for me. Anytime you want to be on the show, just reach out. You're welcome anytime.
Well, thank you, Kat. I appreciate that, and thank you again for having me today.
My pleasure. So hang tight, and I'm just going to say farewell to the audience. So thank you to my special guest tonight and UPRN 107.7 New Orleans and 105.3 the Gulf Coast. Remember, if you enjoyed the show, please support us by liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting. And another way to help support the show is by grabbing some swag. If you'd like to pick up your very own Paranormal Heart podcast mug, just drop me an email at paranormalheart13@gmail.com. Until next time, take care of each other and much love to you all.